That's how I get through my day.
All right. Well, it is 3 p.m. on a Sunday, and if you are listening to Pepper's #1 talk radio show here on KNMC
90.1
FM, and that's Average Rants. I'm going to get it.
One day.
One day I'm going to say it all right. And we only say that we're the #1 because I think we're the only one.
We are the only.
But we have yet to have anybody asked to come and be a guest on the show.
Nobody could test it either, so.
Yeah. My mom is listening again because she messages me as soon as we come on the air. All right, well, we've got to do the community calendar. And let's see, July 11th, that is Monday, so that'd be tomorrow. Oh, I'm just going to say this one because I have no idea if I'm going to say this right. Digimacron West Marketing Conference Exhibition is apparently happening. Where is the Lowe's Hollywood Hotel?
What?
Why is this on the?
Yeah, that's not here. I don't know where that.
I don't know. I had to say it though because it kind of sounded like.
I've lived here my whole life, and none of those things ring a bell.
Why is that?
You can get tickets.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Well, instead, at 5 p.m., downtown Havre Matters community meeting is happening online. And we've also, we've got the burger feed happening on the 12th.
Burgers.
That's at the Eagles at 5:30 p.m. Go down there, meet some people, have a chat, have a burger. I feel like this isn't updated with everything that's going on. And because the school's kind of not open, I can't get a newspaper.
Right.
So, the Havre Jace Demo Derby.
JC's.
JC's? Oh, so you know that one.
That's been around a while.
That's happening July 17th at 12 p.m. Well, that seems weird. That is happening right around, church just ends, right?
What?
At 12?
Yep.
So you get to, if you're a churchgoer, go to church in the morning and then go to see the Destruction Derby.
Most churches have two masses, so like one at 9 and one at 11 or somewhere in there. So
It just kind of seems contradictory to me.
I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah, that's enough.
Mhm.
Everything else is just kind of, it's very repetitive.
Derbies are fun.
I've only seen one in Cars 3.
There's a derby in Cars 3.
Yeah, remember the bus?
I didn't watch Cars 3.
You're missing out because it's a
I
school bus.
barely made it through Cars 2. Like, we've done this once. Why are we doing it again? Talking cars. I'm just waiting for boats.
There is planes.
I know. That's why I said I'm waiting
And there
for
are
boats.
talking boats.
In planes. And I believe in cars. Do you see a boat somewhere in like the second one?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, in the second one. I don't know. But where are the trains?
There are trains.
Yeah. So you got to do a movie on
And
them all.
they don't do trains because they have Thomas the Steam Engine. You know, with the creepy faces on the face of all the trains.
Oh, jeez. Are you going to do it?
I don't know.
No,
I don't know how. I can't.
You can't. What can't you do? You can't do anything. Talking about it. Well, I'm going to start something.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Oh. Do we break something?
Oh, okay.
We broke something.
Thank you.
How is it hearing one side of a conversation?
It's pretty good. It was just about the Eagles.
Huh?
It's just about the Eagles.
Oh. What's happening at the Eagles?
Everything.
Oh. Hey, so you're a science person, right? You like science? I like science. Science is awesome.
I mean, everybody likes science in some ways. If you like to shoot a gun, you like science.
Without science, you would not have a gun.
That's right.
Whoa. Wow. Yeah, we don't need to announce that, Sammy. Honestly, people already, we spend too much time on the internet as it is, like right now. So last week, they fired up again for the first time since 2019, the Large Hadron Collider.
The what?
The big machine that they bounce particles off each other to make little nuclear explosions to discover new elements.
Oh.
And apparently, conspiracy theorists have been ramping up into hyperdrive that hearing the news that the Large Hadron Collider at CERN will send us into an alternate dimension, and we just keep reliving the same day over and over.
Groundhog Day.
Apparently, some people believe that when you fire up the Hadron Collider, it just sends you into an alternate universe, and that's why everything's so messed up right now, is because we're in a messed up alternate universe of. So let's just play with the multiverse for 1 second.
Okay.
How do we know that we're the one that's screwed up and the other ones aren't? Because you discovered the other, let's just play like this. So say we found other multiverses. Why does that make us one? Maybe they already knew we were here, but they're like, we just don't want to play with different multiverses.
Well, I mean, in the comics, they actually play that off a lot because they'll be like, oh, we're going to Earth 27.
Who decides they're 27?
But remember,
That's what I want
when they go there, they're like, oh, yeah, no, we don't count ourselves as 27. You guys are 34, though.
Right?
Right? So it's like, but I've always wondered is, wouldn't it be kind of weird if you could be like, oh, well, we found the one that just makes the opposite decisions that we do.
Right. One of my favorite movies takes places in, actually, there's a lot of movies that do it, but in different multiverses, not multiple timelines.
Yeah.
Multiverse. Like, you ever see the movie The One with Jet Li?
That's amazing.
Yeah, right?
Because the more you get rid of yourself, the stronger
you absorb their, I don't know whether it's their power. Well, they don't really explain to the movie what it is because they don't know, but they really don't want Jet Li to kill himself off.
Right, because he becomes like a superhuman.
Yeah, right. He gets super duper strong, and he's in different multiverses. And, it's kind of interesting.
Well, my favorite part of that movie was when they showed all the ones that he had eliminated, and they all looked normal, but then there was one that was looked like the Californian surfer,
right,
with blonde hair but Jet Li.
Right.
And I was like, that was the only one that went. That looks so weird.
She's persistent.
I'm
not saying it. Or did she send us a news story? Anyway.
Oh, she was letting you know that Jet Li is my man crush.
Your man crush is Jet Li, huh?
So, I guess we can get into a little story.
I just got to ask your opinion. I really liked the movie. It kind of flopped, but what did you think of Unleashed?
Why don't I remember that?
It's got Morgan Freeman in it. He's blind. He's the piano tuner.
I don't know if I've seen it.
What? I will loan it to you. It's really.
Oh wait, no, I have seen it. There's Jet Li in it.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I've seen every movie with Jet Li.
I was gonna say, how have you not seen it? He gets taken from his mom when he's a little boy by the Bob Hoskins character, who turns him into just basically a fighting machine, but treats him like a dog.
Yes, and that's because when the collar comes off, he's allowed to fight.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yes, that one was pretty good.
But I mean, it was a really underrated movie. It was like,
well, a lot of Jet Li's are because they're kind of like.
Well, he's kind of a one-trick. I mean, you don't see him doing a lot of drama because it's really difficult for. I'm not saying he can't do it, but in America, when he has. I mean, he can speak English fairly well, but
yeah,
it's kind of broken at times.
Well, people also don't watch when they see Jet Li or like Jackie Chan. They're not thinking drama.
When I first seen the Forbidden Kingdom movie come out, where Jet Li and Jackie Chan were going to fight, I'm like, I got to watch it.
Yep.
It was terrible.
No, it was amazing because they fought each other.
But yeah, for 5 minutes.
The same reason why
it was like it was a 5-minute fight where not one of them landed a punch.
What was that movie? The one that we watched with the dragon.
Oh no. That's not good. We don't need to talk.
But it had Schwarzenegger and Jackie Chan. That's why we watched it.
Right? Yeah. That was called The Iron Mask.
Oh, yes.
It was dubbed in like 17 languages. They even dubbed Schwarzenegger in English.
It was very weird.
but the Hadron Collider thing, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
They've discovered 2 new elements since firing it up in just over a week.
It's pretty crazy. But now the question is, what are they going to do with those elements?
Well, not so much elements. I guess they're more. Let me see what they're.
Just different things.
They're like dark matter or stuff like that. Yeah.
Because I always, I don't know, movies makes me feel like when they discover something new, the first thing people do with it is make a weapon.
Well, it's kind of the objective, Like, how can I weaponize this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, it's a 27-kilometer loop that these things go around over at about the speed of light, and then they just smash them. Like they send one direction and the other direction, and they just smash them into each other. Big, teeny tiny little nuclear explosions, and measure the.
I was just picturing random little mushroom clouds appearing in this.
I mean, I can't believe that like you've never heard of the Hadron Collider.
No, it's just like in some movies. There's certain movies that if you ask me if I knew the storyline, I'd be like, no, but the fighting is cool.
So this TikTok chick goes crazy on this, right? A lot of people think the last time CERN was turned on, we were shifted into a different timeline and reality. It is powered by negative matter and negative energy. Any negative thought you've had gives power to this machine. Okay, I gotta try to keep a straight face, but I can't.
But every negative thought, I must be like power in.
I believe when this is turned on, there will be an actual shift and people will be left behind for the next 7 years. I don't know why she picked 7 years. I don't think she ever goes on to say why.
It's a safe bet that people will forget that she said it by the time it's come up.
Just like every time the world is supposed to end, like 9999, 9909, 6606. You know where I was at 6606? I was sitting at the bar.
Yeah.
I remember that too because I was like sitting there and I'm like, you know what? If the world had ended, we'd already know about it because at 605, 06, in China, it's 6606 before it is because they're a day ahead of us. So you just gotta watch China.
Well, that's the other thing that always comes up with any conspiracy about the end of the world is what time zone we're talking about. Because also remember, time zones didn't really exist.
There's no use
when
for it.
So when the Mayans didn't have a time zone.
And they didn't predict the end of the world.
No.
People just assume that because their calendar ended. It doesn't end. It's a circle.
Well, I mean,
it starts over.
Our calendar ends every year, and we get a new one.
Don't get me started on our calendar. Our calendar doesn't work, and we know it. You know how we solved it? Every 4 years, we just throw away a day. It doesn't work, but we'll just make it work.
One less day every 4 years that you have to work.
The 10-month calendar worked fine, but we didn't even have to throw away a day every 4 years. You just...
I mean, if we used the 10-day calendar, then I would have been born in August.
I don't know if that math works there, but, whatever. Just saying. Hadron Collider, pretty cool. Learning stuff.
I wonder how many people that are listening that are now like, so if I just crash these things together at light speed, I can make little explosions.
Yeah, but that's not new science. Well, hey, remember the contact lens I was talking about last week or the week before?
Yeah, like the...
They actually made a pair that you can wear now.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, and the cool thing is like, your television and your computer monitor at about 1080p or 1080i, I can't remember which one it is, A or I or P or whatever.
Yeah.
The display on this thing is 14,000 pixels per micro inch or per inch micro LED.
How much did it cost?
Which is 30 times the pixelation of your phone.
I mean, what
They don't have a cost here because they're not.
So I'm gonna guess a couple million.
But I don't even know if it's that. I don't think it's that much. But look at it this way. I mean, was this even like when you were a kid running around 12 years old? Was this even a possibility to you?
A cell phone?
Yeah. A cell phone that I could connect to the internet from anywhere, almost anywhere I stood.
When I was a kid, the internet didn't exist.
Yes, it did. Just in a very, very difficult and very costly form.
Yeah, but it didn't exist to me.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have been able to think of
Right.
something like that.
Right. But now,
all I cared about was being a Ninja Turtle.
I saw it yesterday when my wife and I and my son went and got coffee, and we decided to sit outside and, just eat a muffin, And I look around, and I'm looking at the drive-thru. Everyone. There wasn't a single person, even the people who came out of the store, had their faces buried in a phone.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's sad.
It is sad.
Because I looked up from my phone, right? And I'm like, oh my God. Like, are we ever unplugged?
I try to be. That's why, the bonus with, like, one of my hobbies is painting. So I'm not.
I was gonna say, but if you're like watching a game or a movie or whatever, you're plugged in. You're on the internet. You're there.
Yeah, there's a lot more accessible. And think about it too. Because of how dependent we are on our electronics, it's harder to just sit outside.
Well, and if you watch people, if you take someone's phone away from them without them knowing about it, they will reach for it, like compulsively. Like they don't even need it.
Well, when I was younger, I used to feel like it was vibrating in my pocket.
Oh, I still get that way sometimes. Yeah. Like, did my phone go off? The watch helps now.
Well, you know what I'm like with my phone.
You never answer it.
Yeah, it's because I leave it. I try to make it so it's not near me.
Well, it's a good thing there's never an emergency, but if there is, I just call your wife.
Oh, if you had an emergency and you actually called and didn't text, I would hear it.
All right.
Yeah.
Why don't you answer my text? It could be an emergency text message.
I did answer your text.
And I couldn't speak. Yeah, when I got to your house.
Yeah. And if you send a text because it's an emergency, it's not an emergency.
Ooh. Yeah. So get outside more. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I really think that the world should have a day where you're not.
No, we shouldn't have to do this. We're full-grown adults, most of us. Should be able to go, you know what? At 7:00, we're done with phones for the day. You can sit down and stream a movie or whatnot, but put your phone away.
I really hate how people just are. I don't know. When I was a kid, I would call my friend, and if he didn't pick up,
you rode your bike over.
Yeah, and you went to see because you knew he was outside. And
he was either outside or if he wasn't at home or outside,
you
knew
just
like,
yeah,
because he knew he was doing something. He was, he's at church or he's shopping or he's doing something.
Well, I can't remember the comedian that did it, but he does like a really awesome sketch where he talks about how when he was a kid, people would be like stopping by and they'd be like, "Oh my goodness, come on in, come have cake. We've got cake." And then people would come visit.
Well, it was social interaction, which they were like, they didn't have. The only person they could socially interact with was the person in the room.
But think about it now. When there's a knock on your door, the first thing that happens, you're like, "Who's that?
Yeah.
What is that? Nobody messaged me."
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Nobody told me they're coming over.
It's completely different. Like we have one of those Ring doorbells, and I swear, every time a kid drives by on his scooter right by my door because they're using my walkway, it registers, and my whole house is like, "Wait, who's coming over? What was that?"
We're going camping for a good few days. It's going to be interesting to see how, not just me, but my daughter and my son, because they're attached to their tablets.
Now, my question is, are you guys going somewhere that you can't use your phones?
For the most part, out in the Bear Paws, you can't. There's where we go camping, you really can't, unless you climb a big old hill.
I for some reason, see both of you being like, "I just got to check something. I'll be right back."
No, I'm too lazy for that. And honestly, no, I don't hike for that reason. But, yeah. Ooh, did you know something? Canada has something that no one else has.
Oh, I know.
What? Maple syrup?
We have the most minerals that you can find on the planet.
That's true. You also have the world's oldest water.
I believe that.
The world's oldest water lies at the bottom of a Canadian mine. And guess how old you think it is? Think in world terms, how old the water is.
World terms with water. Let's go 4,000 years.
Not quite.
Is it really old?
It's really old water. They've dated the water to be about 2 billion years old.
I wonder if it's gone stale.
Well, here's the thing. It hasn't. The water is found at the bottom of a mine 3 kilometers down. And it's 2 billion years old. the reason that it's still there is because, well, it can't evaporate. It's got nowhere to go.
It kind of sounds like most Canadians.
Nowhere else to go. Where else would you want to go there? The previous record was held by water found in the same mine by the same team back in 2013, found at a depth of around 2.5 kilometers. The mine is, in fact, the deepest basalt mountain metal mine. You guys mine basalt up there, apparently, in the world as of, it's a type of mine. Not basalt is not a thing, but for copper, zinc, and silver. And so it's, yeah. You guys tapped into these old wells. My wife's parents drink off of a well like that over in Flathead.
Mm-hmm.
There's enough water in the well to last like 500 years.
I remember where I grew up, we had a well, and that water was so good.
Yeah, their water is insane. Like, Fiji, eat your heart out, man. I mean, this stuff is crazy. Like, it doesn't even leave water scum on the doors. It's so clean.
I really find it's interesting. Like, so where I grew up, the water was really clean, and then when we moved to British Columbia, it was even cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
But just living when I was a kid, we used to fill little milk jugs, and we bring them to a camp that I worked at in the city. There was Toronto, probably in Toronto,
Mm-hmm.
and I worked at a camp just outside that, and I would bring that because the water from the city of Toronto was garbage.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember you'd give it to some of the kids because they weren't used to that kind of water. And they'd be like, oh, is this like spring water? You give us spring water? I'm like, no, it's from my well where I grew up. And even in my own country, you can see the difference between where you live and the type of water you drink.
Oh, yeah.
Like coming here, I'm sorry, like Haber probably knows it.
Our water's
horrible.
gross.
I can't even drink it.
Most people can't. Our water's disgusting.
When I have a shower, I put like a plastic bag over my head just in case.
It's kind of cool. I had to read more into the story to figure out how do you figure out something that's 2 billion years old? I mean, it doesn't like have a name on it, but they analyze the water by studying the gases in it. It's like radiocarbon dating. They measure the amount of gases that are trapped in it, which will tell you how old it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they did it. They measured that, and it came out to 2 billion years old. 2 billion.
That's crazy. It is one of those things, though, where it's like, how do you know there's 2 billion based off that? Because you still had to just make it.
Well, because they used the baseline that they found that the Earth is roughly 7.6 billion years old.
Some people don't believe it's that old, though.
Some people believe it's a lot younger. Some people believe it's older. Who knows?
Some people believe it's flat.
You knew that was coming. It's weird. Like, we made all the planets round except for ours. We're flat.
No, all those ones are flat too. That's why we look at them.
I don't know. No, I mean,
Yeah, they're just on their side.
They spin so fast like a coin you can't tell.
Oh, there you go. I'm sure I was talking about flat earthers the other day.
It happens. It's a thing. How it became a thing.
You know what? Sometimes I think it's just one person says something and might even think it's a joke.
I sent you that video game screenshot.
Yeah.
That guy had convinced all those. He went onto a flat earther forum, posted a screenshot from a video game, and he's like, "Look how flat the Earth is." They were so concerned with just what it said, they didn't actually look at the picture he'd actually taken.
Well, he cropped it.
But you can still tell it's a video game.
Yeah. But did you see some of the comments?
Oh yeah.
Because when he finally showed the
uncropped version.
Uncropped, and then some people were. The one I liked the most was, see, even video game designers know that the Earth is flat. That's why they don't make it curved at the horizon. And I was like, you realize your video game is on a rectangle probably that you're playing on, like Minecraft.
Mm.
It won't have a horizon that's round because you're on a rectangle.
It's
It is, man, we always end up going back to flat earthers. Anyway.
I'm sorry, when you're that easy of a target and you don't have anything to stand on, literally. I mean, I showed you that you started watching that show, and every experiment they tried to prove that the Earth was not round kept telling them it was round, and all they kept saying was the evidence is inconclusive.
I just don't know how they would think that the Earth would be able, because we have the core keeps the planet kind of
Okay.
like a little sun.
When we say the Earth is round, yes, it is round. It is not a perfect circle.
No.
First of all, it's just space junk that ran into it. I mean, it's going to be round in shape, but it's
somewhat oval.
Yeah. I mean, for its size and distance away from it, yeah, it's just going to look like a pretty good sized circle. But if you were to measure it, it would look like a snowball you packed in your hand. As round as you could get it, but it would have its flat spots and its round spots and its high spots and low spots. Yeah. But it is not a quarter.
I don't know. But I mean, I always try to look at things from like other people's point of view, trying to figure it out.
I try.
And this one is really tough.
I've been in an airplane. I've seen the curve.
Well, the thing that always gets me is if it was flat, why aren't we mining things underneath it?
Well, then you just drill right through.
Well, but you know what I mean? Well, you could go underneath and you could just mine all that stuff. Like, how much minerals would be more easily accessible when you don't have? Because I just imagine the bottom looks like mountain peaks pointing down.
Yeah.
Because I never really talk. All the stuff that we've talked about, everything that I've looked at online, I never really talk about what the underside looks like.
And where does the sun go?
Oh, everybody just goes to bed at the same time.
Because in that theory, they say that the sun just keeps staying right where it rotates and we don't. And it doesn't go anywhere. But I'm like, but if we're flat, we would be sunny all the time.
Yeah. I find it's really hard for people. I think the hardest thing to do in life is to change your mind.
What freaks me out is that someone's going to tell this to their kid, and then their kid is going to believe it and tell mine, and mine is going to start to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
I got nothing wrong if you've got some solid evidence and facts to go, yep, this is the way it is. This is how we figured stuff out, right? You did experiments, you got all that. You come with some solid facts and some real, which is a really big problem with the internet, because you can just type anything you want and people just believe it. Stop reading things on the internet, people.
Yeah.
But because I could go type in anything right now on Facebook and be like, hey, the Earth only weighs 3,500 tons. And someone's like, you know the world only weighs 3,500 tons? I made that up.
Well, that's what I mean. That's all it takes. Like, even with the flat Earth, I feel like it was just one guy who was like, hey, man, the Earth's flat, you know? And then somebody was in that group went, it could be. Because I never thought about it.
We did think about it, and we proved it wrong.
Like, nowadays.
Well, and then their big thing is like, well, there's a guy from NASA who says it's not. He said all those pictures of the Earth are paintings that were taken from space. First of all, satellites got to orbit something.
Well, I really have I guess one of my pet peeves is, and I mean, I've fallen into it. When I was younger, it was hard for me to change my mind if I was set on something. But like, I really, with everything going on in the world, people gotta learn
If
this
somebody
stuff.
came up to me and started having we were talking hockey or baseball or anything, and then somehow we got on the conversation and they're like, well, I believe the Earth is flat. I'm like, oh, okay, we move on. Right? I would subtly try to change the subject because, first of all, I know the Earth is round, but they know the Earth is flat. Until someone gives, they're both right?
Well, for me, if you're ever so adamant on something that you can't change your mind, really think about what would make you change your mind. And if you can't think of anything, odds are you might be
Well,
wrong.
and here's the other thing: like, if I truly believed something, it, but someone's like, "Hey, can you give me 5 minutes?" And I just want to show you something. Have an open mind. And they showed me this. I'm like, wow. I'm not saying I changed my mind, but I would be open to, well, hey, maybe they got a point. Not the minute your belief starts to fall off a cliff, you just throw it back and you get defensive and close it off. It's scary. Most people are afraid to change.
Yeah.
But what's the worst that could happen if you stop believing the earth was flat?
I don't know. Might start walking more at an angle.
Fun fact: did you know that your head's older or younger than your feet?
Oh, is that like one of the first things that develops?
No, because gravity. Would you ever notice that the closer to gravity you get, Einstein figured it out. The more gravity has something on it, the faster it ages. So there was an experiment. There wasn't really an experiment. But what happened is, two twins, astronauts. One went to the International Space Station. Well, when he went to the space station, he was younger, or he was older than his younger brother by about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. When he came back, he was actually older because of the way time works, because gravity slows time down. So your feet age faster than your head.
So then it's pretty good that I've done a lot of handstands and walking when I was in my youth.
That's why feet are so ugly.
No, that's just for you.
But I mean-
my feet.
But I mean, if you take, see, my microwave sits right above my oven, and I set the clocks to the exact, I do it on purpose just to see it do it, the exact same time. They're 3 minutes different 4 months later.
Could just be programming.
Could be, but they're the exact same style clock, and they're from the they're both Samsung.
I mean, everything I own is connected through the internet, so it keeps track of
It's a really cool thing. If you go onto YouTube, you can YouTube it, and the scientist will walk you through the whole experiment. He does it with with one of those super duper accurate clocks. He puts one at sea level, and then he puts one up on a mountain, and it's true. The one on the mountains always ends up going faster.
So we need to dig deep to live longer.
Pretty much. No, the closer you get to gravity, the slower you age, the faster you age.
The mountain be less gravity.
Mm-hmm.
So then you age quicker.
No, you age quick. That's why your feet are older than your head. Or is it? Did I get that backwards? I don't
think
remember.
for the mountain thing, you flipped it.
Yeah, whatever.
That's why I was looking at you weird.
We don't know. But gravity messes with time. Einstein proved that. That's why your clocks are always get weird. Gravity plays with them.
I saw a picture of Einstein the other day in slippers, fluffy ones.
And the funny thing is, like, I constantly look at my watch. It's always perfect time. Well, that's because it's using satellites.
Well, you know, my wife and I, we have our own time.
Yeah.
We show up
When you show up.
No, we show up exactly when we're expecting.
Yeah, you guys are wizards. Without the cool stuff of being a wizard.
Well, just think about it. Every time that we were late, it made you think about us more. So when are they coming?
They hurry up and show up. I'm hungry. Yeah. Man, gas prices are dropping slowly. They went down a dime. Just saying.
You guys go in gallon. A dime is nothing.
True. Well, believe it or not, though, a bottle of water still costs more than a gallon of gas.
I thought it was interesting that...
or a gallon of water still costs more than a gallon of gas if you buy it by the bottle for a gallon.
I just thought it was interesting that a barrel of oil didn't actually increase too much, even though the gas prices jumped. So whenever I hear that, I think that the thing I hate the most, and this happens in Canada and the United States,
That's all over.
is whenever something goes wrong, they blame the government.
Government doesn't make the prices. They can't.
Well, that's what I mean.
They can tell you what you can and can't do, but they can't go. You have to set this price.
Yeah, you guys have what it is. It's a free trade market. So the government can't change anything about the gas prices. Only the businesses can.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked at a gas station, and I remember that I was told, they're like, hey, you watch the other gas stations, and if you see them increase your price, you stay 1 cent lower than them.
Yeah, I saw this one, Sammy. That was a good one where they blew up that that little Georgia monument. Yeah, I
The far right destroyed the U.S. Stonehenge.
well, some people think it was struck by lightning by God, and
Oh my goodness.
some there's different theories going around. I'm pretty sure somebody just went there with a hammer.
Oh, no, there's a video of it because it's under surveillance. Somebody blew it up.
Yeah. So there was
I
a
just
theory
looked at the
going.
video.
There was somebody over there with a theory that they took so that like God struck it down with a lightning bolt or something like that. And I'm like, I don't think so.
No, little did they know that it's because it's a monument. It was being
Monitored. Yeah.
Yeah, they have 2 camera angles of it, and it is 100% an explosion.
I never understood like people's beliefs. It's like you can. They're like you can believe in whatever you want. Yeah.
To get away.
Right. They're like, I have my beliefs, but anytime somebody goes near their beliefs, they get super defensive. But they'll go out and do that.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, because
What was that hurting? It's just a bunch of rocks. They're kind of neat. I don't know what's on them.
Well, they know who made those. Those weren't like mysteriously put up.
No.
People just upset me.
That technically that could be like an art piece, right?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Well, no. I'm pretty sure it was put up by some religious sect for somebody, but I don't know what. I've seen it before. I don't know who. What?
So the RC, what is it? Man identified as RC Christian commissioned the project on behalf of a group of out-of-state Americans who wanted to remain anonymous. So that's
The thing is that
That's all
like
it was.
I don't like it when people get so offended by something they have to destroy it.
to me, when you destroy something, it's because you're so afraid of it that it's right.
Like, is it not hurting you? What's it doing? It was 4 large rocks. Now it's 3 and several small ones.
It's that my opinion has to be enforced, and you have to follow it.
Right.
So they're like, well, we don't like it, so we're going to get rid of it. And that way it changes your mind.
Oh, I seen this. This lady got called. The police called on her by her neighbor, who are often they're referred to a certain name, and I'm not going to say it because it's me. Because not all of them can be like that, but I'm sure they all are. Some are, but she was eating pizza in a floaty in her front yard, and her neighbor didn't like it, so she called the cops.
There was a graduation party at a park, and a lady called the cops on the graduation party because they were too loud in the middle of the afternoon. I was like, it's a graduation party.
It was like the 4th of July. I mean,
And the worst thing too was
there were people lighting off fireworks till 1 o'clock in the morning in my neighborhood.
it shows the video of the party with the lady yelling at them while she's calling the cops. And, I could understand if it was like offensive music maybe, or they were being rude. But
They were doing it on purpose, but I mean...
Well, every kid was, looked respectable, wasn't causing a huge scene. It was only this lady. And they were listening to Katy Perry. So I was like,
Baby, she's a firework, man.
Yeah.
I mean, but I brought up the fuel prices for a reason.
Was it a segue?
Sort of. Well, I mean, people are trying to, businesses especially, are trying to find a way to save money.
Yeah.
Well, some businesses, I have yet to see one, but apparently some of them are just telling you that if you want to return an item that you don't like or want, it's just cheaper for you to keep it.
Yep.
Because we can't store it. We don't have the facilities or the money to transport and store it. So businesses are just like, you know what? We'll give you a new one. Just keep it. This is how you ended up with 2 chairs and 2 trampolines.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy? I mean, we weren't even trying to cheat the system.
No, you're like, it's broken. I need it. It's slightly. Okay, let's face it. The chair wasn't broken. The chair still functioned, but you wanted the awning.
Yeah, the awning thing busted because it was like so thin of a thing holding it together that the wind just picked up and grabbed it. And we're like, okay, well, we need to reinforce it then. So we just called them thinking that they would send us one of those because we just got it. And they just sent us a whole chair. We didn't even know it was going to be a whole chair. And we didn't even talk to anybody. It was the automated response to this system.
And I think that they're, it's just, well, because most places like Amazon offer free shipping and free returns. So they cover that cost.
Yeah.
Well, they don't want to cover that cost. This is too much for them. You think of it in like, well, UPS is hundreds of packages. That's not too bad. Or train or however you do it. But over the course of a year, those dollars add up.
Well, they probably have like a contract with them where they pay a yearly flat rate directly to them to get unlimited shipping, but that it changes.
That's how sideline swap worked. That was kind of neat for us. It's like when I first got my first set of goalie gear, to have that shipped from anywhere else was we'd be well over $100 because it's heavy.
Yeah.
But the way sideline swap, we're like, well, no, we're gonna do all our shipping through you guys. So it's gonna be a flat rate of they worked out a deal of whatever amount. So whoever uses our site gets to ship their stuff for $15 or whatever, or $20. So I got like 95 pounds worth of hockey gear for flat rate $15.
Well, it's just like a trampoline. I mean, that sucker was.
You had to freight it. Yeah, they had to freight it.
Yeah, there was no.
My wife, when she got me my sweet Kamado grill, that had to come on a freight like they pulled up to my house in a semi.
Nice.
And a lift gate because it weighs like 300 or 200 pounds. They weren't going to make the poor UPS guy lift that one.
Oh, we got those chairs, the UPS guy, because the box was damaged for the first one. He came to our house without the package.
Well, yeah, because he doesn't want to haul it twice.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, it makes sense. And even though it was like somewhat inconvenient, I'd rather go to the UPS, check it out, and then drive home with it myself than have it come to my house, then call them, then put it back outside, tape it up again. So
and some of them are pretty bad. Like they give you a package, they just chuck it at your door. You're like, I realize you're in a hurry, man, but I mean, come on. I mean, you don't want people throwing your stuff.
Well, I did catch when we were at our old place. I heard a box. I heard the guys pull up, so I went and looked, and I saw him go to my gate and like one hand chuck it. And so I just opened my door and I said, "Excuse me," and he was just like, "Uh-oh," like didn't think anybody was home.
Right? Like, come on. Yeah, I mean that makes sense to me. Like, it's just easier for you to keep.
Yeah.
And well, usually what we do if we find something we don't like or don't fit, we just find somebody who wants it.
Well, I know Gavin got our trampoline.
Oh, yeah, they'll be happy with it.
Yeah. Well, and it was his wife was the one, and we just wanted to sell it, so we put it for cheaper then.
Well, it's not like you're not losing anything on it.
Yeah. So then she messaged us and then made us a counter offer, and we're like, "Wait, you're Gavin's wife. You get the hockey discount."
If you play hockey this year.
Yeah. Well, he is. He's coming to the tournament.
Gavin's wife.
Oh, yeah. Well, Gavin came. Yeah. So.
Well, he's big. He can carry that thing by himself.
Yeah, I think he one-hand arm carried that.
Yeah. Like, I think of myself as generally a pretty decent-sized guy. I look up to Gavin.
So I think that's why around here, I'm like, oh, you know what? I think I'm one of the best fighters on the ice.
Until you see Gavin. I'm not going that way.
So I even with Gavin because I was like, I'll skate around.
Right?
I'll make a fall.
I'm faster. I can get to the door before he can.
You know, I can close the door. It takes forever for new people to figure
Well,
out.
and Gavin being a goaltender, it's really tough to get in and out the door.
Yeah. Well, I think he's playing defense with me.
There you go.
We found a Lewistown goalie that wanted to give it a shot. So.
There you go. Yeah. So I was at Walmart today, man.
Uh-oh.
If you want to find a rant, just go to Walmart.
Yep.
Or any regular store that has carts. Why can't people put the carts in the cart corral?
It's so far away.
Is it?
No.
Okay. It wasn't that the lady missed the cart corral. She actually took it to the cart corral and stopped right before the cart corral.
Well, I mean, if I put it in front of it, then...
You took the energy to walk to the cart corral. Now you just have to push. But she just let go. She just stopped. It's not even in the corral. Okay, that's bad. You know what's worse? The people who leave them next to their car or your car.
I mean, we're a pretty big ranching community. Can you imagine taking the cow almost
To the chute.
You're like, I almost put it in.
Yeah. I just figured if I put it there, it would just go in on its own.
Yeah.
it's gonna look at it and go, no.
Like, oh, it's gonna leave you here? Cool.
Oh my gosh! Like seriously, just push.
People are, I don't know.
Like you're the reason they have to pay more people because they need people to wander around the parking lot grabbing your cart.
Yeah.
I find myself and like if I don't go out of my way, but if there's a cart that's not in the cart thing, and I can grab it on my way, I'll grab it. If it's like 7 or 8 parking spots away, I'm like, oh, someone else.
Well, I remember a little while ago, Sammy and I went, and there was an open parking spot. I went to pull it, and there was a cart in the middle of it.
Right. Like,
So I was like, can you go out and move the cart so I can park?
but did she put it in the cart corral, or did
Yeah, I'm
she,
pretty sure she
or did she put it in the spot next to you?
No.
Like I've seen people do that.
Well, I can't. So this kind of brings me to one of my other little pet peeves, and I got this because we used to live in big cities. And have you ever went to park in a parking spot, and then you go to pull in and somebody else pulls in front of you, or the other thing is you're going to put groceries in yours, and then there's a car just hovering waiting for you to pull in.
Oh
I don't like it
no!
when people hover. So Sammy and I used to have a little fun with it when we were in Georgia because that was like busy all the time.
Oh yeah.
So we used to go and we would park, and as you're walking, they slowly creep and follow you as you're going down the aisles.
Go to the wrong car. Go past your car.
So what we would
That's
do
what I
is
do.
sometimes we'd go and we'd walk through like we're going to a different car, and then they come in, then we come back. My favorite thing to do was to slowly put all our groceries in, and then we would close the hatch, and then I would go and feel in my pockets and be like, oh, and then start walking back into the store.
What you should have done is put the cart where you had parked and back out. Leave the cart.
I put the car back.
That's what I do. I mean, if the dude's the person's hovering, oh,
But I don't know why that always bugged me. Like I get it that there's not much parking, but for the most part,
let's face it, most people could have probably used the extra 10 or 15
Yeah.
foot walk.
well, and that's just it too. Like even in Georgia, it was a Walmart parking lot, so it was massive. They just didn't want to park near the end of it.
Do you remember Walmarts when they were small?
Yeah.
Tiny Walmarts. Like every Walmart you run into now is a super center.
I remember in my small town when I moved, they had one stoplight, and because it was smaller than ever. And then I remember that they got a McDonald's, and that was like a huge thing. And I don't even remember.
Was it a 4-way stop?
No, it was. No, it was a 3. It was a 3-way.
Oh,
And then McDonald's showed up, and then it was like all of a sudden because of McDonald's showed up, that people from out of town were camping there more.
yeah.
And it just, like in the summer, it took 45 minutes to get downtown.
So in the small town I grew up in, it only had one stoplight too, but I'm pretty sure it flashed yellow most of the time. So it's like, slow down so you don't T-bone somebody coming through this intersection. But that's the basic traffic laws, which most people are supposed to know, which I can guarantee you, if I were to give anybody a traffic test right now, they would fail. You just go by the simple right-of-way laws, and even then, nobody knows them.
I get so confused around here.
Well, see, on one-ways is where people get really messed up. They're like, well, I'm on a one-way, so the right-of-way. That's not true at all. If somebody pulls up to the one-way that you're on, and they're on your right, you technically have to yield to them.
You guys have the yield to the person on the right.
Yield to the right-of-way.
See, where I'm from at a 4-way stop.
No, this ain't just not even a 4-way stop. It's just they don't have. It's an unmarked intersection, so you go by the yield to the right.
Yeah, I don't. As far as I know, and that's not a thing.
Samuel, let us know.
Probably, because I remember one way.
She passed her driver's test.
I passed mine.
You probably got that question wrong.
They don't actually ask you that one. I can honestly
Well, not
say,
on your test.
Yeah, but I can honestly say where I grew up, even though it was a small town, there was always a stop sign. So you never had to think about it.
Hmm.
So like around here, like especially around St. Jude's that park there, I don't know why. It baffles me that there is a school and there's no stop signs by it.
Right.
That drives me nuts, especially because I'm not from here. When I came in and I pulled up, I was like, "What's going on?"
I slow down at that intersection every time.
Yeah.
Even the one-way ones, I almost come to a stop.
Well, and I've done it so many times where I figured out that it was the yield to the right, at those locations by talking to people around here when we got here. So then I come up, and I don't know how many times I've stopped, been the person on the right, went to inch through, and somebody flies through.
Yeah.
So now, like, we get a chuckle out of it because it doesn't matter. I stopped, even at a green light around here, and go, all right, I think
It was
good.
really bad. There was a couple of places that, for me, that had never had a stop sign there. You've been driving in this town for so many years. Like, I would go to work at like 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, and there's no one around, but there's a stop sign there, brand new. It wasn't there for all the years before. I would go through it on occasion in the morning. Like, whoops. But it just turned up. Like, they just randomly put them in there.
Was Stockman? Is that third?
Something like that, yeah.
So I just know somewhere in those subdivisions, it's so weird. You're driving straight, and there's stop signs on the side of you, but then randomly there isn't, and it's one of the yield to the right.
All the way down Third Avenue. You can take Third Avenue all the way down. You're protected by stop signs. Now, I say that because stop signs don't physically stop anybody. They just. But that's the only avenue I know that you can go the whole length of and not worry about.
So there's one in that area that I went down a couple times, and I've been like, oh, and I look, there's stop signs.
Because I always try and take Third Avenue because you're just like, yeah, I don't have to stop. Well, neither does the person with the stop sign if they don't see the stop sign.
Well, I mean, the tip that I was always told when I took driver's ed in Canada was, it's not you that causes the accident, it's the other people around you. So always be aware of your surroundings.
Which is really hard to do nowadays. Like, literally, everybody is buried into something.
Of course it's hard to do when I've got a text that I've got to respond to.
Or a video to watch, or, oh my God. I kid you not, man, I was going down First Street one day. That's the main.
Yeah.
I saw someone reading a book. An actual book. Like, they didn't have their phone out reading a no, they were holding a book above their steering wheel as they were driving. And I'm like,
I used to practice line while I was driving, but at least with that, I was trying to memorize them.
Line?
Well, no, so I'd be driving, and I'd be saying all my lines, and then I'd be like, oh, what? And I'd have to quickly look. But
man.
I don't know. First world problems, right?
Yeah. Not having a dishwasher for me for a while was tough after having one. And now it's like, I don't want to unload the dishwasher. It takes 10 minutes.
I'm kind of, so I seem to forget. So I try to make it so that, my wife isn't always doing the things that would be deemed what your wife is supposed to.
I really hate the gender specific.
Yeah.
There's no such thing anymore. There shouldn't be.
But I'm so just bleh in my head half the time that I'll be sitting there.
Does Sammy trust you to do laundry?
I put some on today.
Today.
She reminds me of what to set the setting.
Right. See, that took me a while. But, yeah.
But I just don't know. Like, so what happens to me is I'll be sitting in the living room, and I'll be like, oh, because I always assume she's just making a wrap or a sandwich or just something to snack on. And, like, I'll hear these sounds. I'm like, and then I'll hear the jingle of cutlery.
Mm.
And that's when I go, oh, she's put the dishes away. I gotta go home. Because I don't know. I just seem to blank out that those need to be done until I go to get a knife, and I'm like, oh, we don't have any. And then I'll open up and be like, oh, they're clean.
Right. And she's going to message me. Do you always hit the laundry hamper, or are you the guy's like, it got close?
Oh, I am the lay it on my side of the bed where nobody can really see it unless they go over there. And then once in a while, pick it all up and put it over in the laundry hamper.
Yeah, so you don't miss the hamper. You don't get it. You're like, I missed, and walk away.
I try not to.
It's close enough?
If it does fall out, I didn't notice it.
You didn't?
No, I don't think that usually happens. Because I just walk by it, right? Because
Right.
you know how our house is now.
The world's longest hallway.
Yeah, it's great.
It never ends.
Yeah, we can throw a ball down it, and our dog.
You can. You have a dog around in your house.
Yep.
With like an obstacle.
Yeah,
Because they got to go up the
She
stairs.
started leaping off the top of the stairs.
Well, she's got to leap to get up it too.
I've only seen her trip 2 or 3 times. That's funny too.
Right. Well, she didn't respond, so you must hit the hamper majority of the time.
I don't think so. Either she's distracted because your son is
Crying on the front step. Yeah.
But I don't know. I always found he was really easy to watch when he was just doing his little cry. Because he wouldn't like bawl. He would just sit down there and be like,
Well, it is so weird. Like when his sister's there, he doesn't do it.
no.
Not at all.
No, he's at that age where he just.
Well, and then, at home, he won't do it either. Because he's at home.
Mm-hmm. But he's at that. He's just, Persephone was at that age where it didn't matter who it was. If we left, she was like, oh, don't leave me. Like.
Well, and then they're going to get to that point where they're like, I can't wait for my parents to leave.
Yeah. I was actually talking with somebody about ages of development. And around the age that they're at right now is the dependency.
You are very good about the hamper thing, apparently.
Oh, thanks. Sweet. Bonus points.
But the crap by his bed is another story, apparently.
Yeah, I did admit it, though.
Is that you just do that so you don't have to put him in the hamper?
So I grew up in a household that was very gender specific. And it wasn't like forced. It was just that's the way my mom and my stepmom there, she really liked to just do that stuff.
We have 3 VRs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So she just really liked to, I guess, do that kind of stuff. And I honestly can remember even in high school, I would come home, go in my room and go, where did my clothes go? And then I'd come back like an hour later and they'd be nicely folded on my bed and I just had to put them away.
Right.
So I just got so used to that. I remember when Sammy and I got together and she came over for like Thanksgiving and I got in trouble for trying to help with the dishes after Thanksgiving. So we used to have a lot of conversations. She's like, that ain't happening with us.
No, gender specific roles are so stupid. Like if there's laundry to be folded, fold it. If there's dishes to be put away, put it away.
The thing I look at it
unless you got something more pressing happening, but I mean, really, why?
The way I look at it is if you don't mind doing it, do it.
Right.
If you want help, make sure you ask your significant other.
Yeah, see, my wife hates folding laundry. She will do it. She won't complain about doing it. I know she hates doing it. Me, I'm like, you know what? I put the kids to bed. It's 9 o'clock. It's kind of quiet. I throw a TV show on. I sit there and I fold laundry. I don't care. Now, here's the thing I put my clothes away and I make sure that the kids' stuff are in a basket ready to be put away because they're usually in bed. I don't want to go wake them up or anything. And I don't try not to I don't put her stuff away because I don't know where it goes for one thing. And she keeps telling me, but guy, forget. I'm waiting for the day that my daughter's clothes get to Amanda sizes. And I'm like, I don't know whose clothes these are because I don't know.
Are you going to do the, hey, when are you going to wear these?
I don't know. They're your daughters.
Yeah.
Yeah. That might be the day I stop folding laundry. I mean, seriously. Yeah.
But I mean, like today for me, I went out and I cut our back lawn. I looked at it and it's been raining so much I haven't been able to do it. So luckily enough, I did before it
rained. Right? Yeah.
But I was like, man, it's getting like a jungle back there. And I was like, I just went and did it. I never expect Sammy to go do it. I always just, I feel like it's just
that's the one thing I do. Yeah, I do it on the weekend usually. But if Amanda went out and cut the lawn, I'd be like, nice job, sweet.
No, but I mean, that's just kind of the thing. So like, there's some things that Sammy does, and I think she just does it. And
my wife works in a male predominant. I had this discussion with her the other day. I'm like, of the thousands of employees that work under the railroad, what 10% maybe outside of the offices are female? And I'm just talking like they're not sitting in the the executive offices and stuff.
Yeah. Yes, you did rake and weed the front lawn.
What was the last word of that?
I can't say that on the radio. But she said that in the smile way.
Yes, she did. No, I don't think there should be gender-specific roles anywhere.
No, I think it should just be
do
communication.
Stop being lazy and do it.
Yeah. It should be.
I did. Did you ever see that video of that dude who was dating the girl, and he's like, "This is a magic laundry hamper. If I put my dirty clothes in it, they always end up putting it folded back in."
Yeah.
She dumped him.
So, I mean, like with me cutting the lawn, like my wife knows I do that. I never expect her to go and do that, and we've talked about it. So like that's just what you got to do. Just there's no gender.
If I look at it like this, if I'm wandering around and I step in something, and I'm like, oh, that's sticky and gross. Clean it up.
I don't know. I watched Big Daddy recently, and I love the newspapers.
When he does it with glue.
Yeah, he does it with glue. He does it with milk. He does it with vomit.
Glue. Seriously, like you just glued paper to the floor.
But I don't know because we watched it recently. It's fresh in my head. You know that they actually throughout the whole thing until he starts being a better parent, had the newspapers on the floor for every spill of the
right.
Like there's the scene where he throws up that the milk is still covered.
Or he wets the bed. He throws it in the bed.
But it's 4 o'clock.
It is 4 o'clock.
Oh man,
Flew through that one.
I did. Well, thank you for listening to Average Rants here at KNMC
90.1.
FM, and yeah, for sure we will be here.
Number 1 radio, talk radio in heaven.
That's right. Next Sunday, tune in. Tell your friends.
Or we will find you.